Now let's take you through the starting order of our next race, which is DD2 and Masters. Heat number 2, groups A and C. The starting order is as follows. On pole position, the fastest driver in time qualifying yesterday evening, Nikita Genza from Germany, with Victor Frostbay alongside him on the front row. David Maslakovic starting on the inside of row 2 has got Vili Viliainen alongside. Baz Lammers and Bender on row 2. Florian Breitenbach and Maxim Shirko on row 4. Well, it's Bender on row 3. Florian Breitenbach and Maxim Shirko row 4. Yannick Nielsen and Tino Egeskov round out the top 10, making it an all-Danish row 5. Luca Filipponi and Christopher Sachs round out row 6. Nicolas Guillaume and Thomas Birsins row 7. Tim Mikametz and Lennart Schreiber row 8. Nikolai Christensen and Enzo Boll row 9. Lucas Lippert and Bastian Krapov round out the top 20, with Jan Eckstein, Wim Rouleau, Lucas Dolezal, Camille Kubera, Yorick Lebo and Jonathan Wimmer rounding out the 26-strong grid. And support for the legend that is the one and only Baz Lammers coming in. I wouldn't happen to be Elliot Papasena on YouTube by any chance with that user ID. Not 100% sure, but Elliot, if you want to confirm that, please let me know. So, quite a lot of viewers over the course of the day. A big thank you to everyone tuning in on the official live stream live on the B&L Karting Series YouTube channel. And a big thank you for everyone that continues to support our social medias on both Facebook and Instagram. Still a lot of racing to go, and we should be finishing around about 20 past 6, give or take, this evening. And then, of course, daylight saving time comes into fruition, because then the clocks go back an hour. Yes! Thank you, Elia. Hope you're keeping well. I hope you qualified for Bahrain, because if so, I'll see you there. So again, the mind games come into play. And Victor Frostbay finds himself on the outside of the front row again, but this time it's Nikita Genza, not Maxim Didix. And it was nip and tuck between those two drivers in the first heats earlier on today. The drivers make their way out of the 12th and final corner. The red lights are on the starting gantry. Now the revs start to rise. The noise increases, the red lights are out, and we are racing. Good start by the pole sitter. Oh, David Maslakovic definitely had his elbow sharpened on that one. Gave a little bit of a scare to Victor Frostbay. Baz Lammers is trying to make his way through, as he's already up from 5th to 4th place and is closing in on the Dane. Baz Lammers, a legend within karting circles. And it's great to see him back in a race suit rather than mechanicking again. So the field makes its way through turn 7 off the Europlan on the opening tour, as Lucas Dolezal ends up being at the tail end of the field. As the field makes its way through out of turn number 10, Nikita Genza leading the way. David Maslakovic, Victor Frostbay, Baz Lammers, Vili Viliainen. Bender rounds out the top 6, and there's Thomas Birsins making a move on Nicolas Guillaume, and they are side by side down the start-finish straight. Guillaume will have the inside line going into turns 1 and 2, and he fires it up the inside. Lammers now up into 3rd place. He gets past Victor Frostbay. Let's see what magic Baz Lammers can bring to the Golden Trophy for 2023. Had the opportunity to get to know him over the past couple of years and also commentate on him. A wonderful character, a very much well-respected and hard-charging individual. When you put a race suit on him, he shuts the visor down. Expect fire and brimstone from that man representing the Netherlands. And Maxim Shirko is closing in on Ben Dorr for 5th place. Sends it up the inside through turn number 6th place. Sends it up through on the 409 through at turn number 12. And Maxim Shirko again showcases that the move from juniors last year to this year for DD2 was completely 100% justified. other cases in point. Tom Bracken, Enzo Boll, and also Thomas Rudokas needs a shout out because he's been running in the Baltics in DD2 this year. Bas Lammers now reeling in David Maslakovic, and what's more, Bas Lammers with the fastest lap of the race, 54.603 from the man from the Netherlands, and the 4:08 running with MKC Motorsport. And Maslakovic is going to find it's going to be between a rock and a hard place very, very shortly. Lammers closing in, now heads down into turn number 12, and the Dutchman fires it up the inside through turn number 12, and he gets through for P2. Maslakovic comes straight back at him, through out of the final corner. That opens the door for Victor Frostbay. Frostbay doesn't take advantage of it, going into turns 1 and 2, backs out of it, waits for another opportunity, but that was textbook Lammers in a nutshell, going through, sending it millimetre perfect through on the inside of turn 12. Maslakovic tried to fight back at him, and Lammers said, no, you do not. Nikita Genza, in the meantime, has got a lead of 1.1 seconds. That could be further exacerbated by the battling between Lammers and Maslakovic. But that is so great to see. I still remember the many years that Bas Lammers, well, there's going to be a change for third. There is a change for third. Victor Frostbay gets through on Maslakovic, through at turn 10 for third place. And now Vili Viliainen trying to look to see if he can make a move through. But then Victor Frostbay loses out big time to Maslakovic, who retakes third position, going through turn number 12. And there is Maxim Shurko waiting in the wings to try and get through on the 4:04 of Finland's Vili Viliainen. So the gap between first and second position now stretches to 1.4 seconds. Genza leading the way with 5 minutes and 55 seconds on the clock. And oh, it's getting a bit elbows out. Great move there. And despite the fact it was slightly sideways, was Victor Frostbay up the inside of David Maslakovic. So that is now another change for P3. And here goes Vili Viliainen, clashes wheels ever so slightly. Maslakovic goes slightly wide coming out of the corner. That's going to allow Maxim Shurko to dive bomb up the inside. He gets through, goes deep. Maslakovic responds, and there is Yannick Nielsen. Oh, this is shades of Nicolas Picot all over again. Yannick Nielsen, and now there's a bit of sideboard barging between Maslakovic and Shurko. Nielsen trying to get the cut back. He's gone round the outside of Shurko. He's touched wheels. He's 2 wheels on the grass, and then Florin Breitenbach gets through. Oh my goodness me. This has definitely been a different kettle of fish to what we saw earlier on in race 1. And there is Ben Dorr battling away. I think that might be one of the Schuppers racing carts. That is going to be, yep, that's Nicolas Guillaume in the 491. Trying to get through on him. And Shurko gets through. That's at turn 10. Hits the brakes late. Sideways into the corner at turn number 10, and he gets through. And Ben Dorr now back through on Nicolas Guillaume. That's a battle for 9th position, but look at the skirmish here. This is a little bit further down. You've got the 464. And that's Tim Mikametz going side by side with Enzo Boll, runner-up this year in the Euro Trophy and the BNL Karting Series. But Nikita Genza's lead is being slightly truncated, ever so slightly, by Bas Lammers. It was 1.4 seconds. It's just gone a hair's breadth under 1.3. So Yannick Nielsen, the highest placed DD2-Masters driver, in 8th at the moment. Tino Egiskov, unfortunately, on lap 4, has retired the kart. So not been a good second, well, not a good heat 2 for the Dane, as there is a change of position. That was more than likely. That's Luca Filipponi on Christopher Saxa for position. So Filipponi is now currently in 11th place, trying to climb up the order and try and close in on Yannick Nielsen for the race, for the lead in the DD2-Masters classification. We are running them together, but for tomorrow, the Superheat and the final will be DD2 on their own and Masters on their own. So the leader making his way through into turn 10. Nikita Genza, still remember commentating on that young man in RMC Germany. And great to catch up with him and Mats Johan Overhoff yesterday. Thanks for the drink, by the way, Mats. Very much appreciated. Talking about when they started racing together in Micromax a few years ago. And now Bas Lammers is closing that gap. It's now down to 1 second. With just under 2.5 minutes to go, Lammers is on a charge. He's trying to close that gap up to Genza very, very quickly indeed. And the man from the Netherlands looks over his right shoulder, sees where Victor Frostbay is in terms of proximity behind him. So Victor Frostbay has the fastest lap of the race, and he's only 7/10 behind. It might not even be that by the time we get to the conclusion of the next lap, but Ben Dorr closing in on Nicolas Guillaume. That is the battle for 9th position. So they have been battling away. I just saw Tino Egiskov's kart by the sidelines. It's actually just off of the exit of turn number 9. Gap has now stabilised between 1st and 2nd position as Nikita Genza goes slightly quicker, sets his personal best. A little bit further back, there is Yannick Nielsen and David Maslakovic. And that is the battle for 6th position overall. Picture in picture, you can see the drivers making their way out of turn 6 and onto the famed Europolan stretch, the back straightaway here at Karting Genk. Maslakovic really being put under pressure by Yannick Nielsen. Now, Nielsen was originally entered as a DD2 driver, but then decided, well, you know what? I'm going to go for Masters. That's going to be a little bit better for me, I think. And he is closing in on the Polish driver, coming out of turn 11. Maxim Shurko has a little bit of breathing space between himself and Maslakovic. Oh, Yannick Nielsen runs a little bit deep. Maslakovic tries to get the crisscross coming out of turn 12, and Yannick Nielsen does not let that happen and does an absolute doozy up the inside and gets through on him. 35 seconds on the timer still to go. And, oh, Yannick Nielsen has now got a 5-second time penalty. 5-second time penalty handed to Yannick Nielsen. Now, where does that put him in comparison with Luca Filipponi? Well, Yannick Nielsen, at the moment, has got enough time. However, oh, this is getting a bit hairy. Florian Breitenbach up the inside. That was on the 455 of David Maslakovic. So that is a change for position. Florian Breitenbach, for those that might remember, used to run with Nice Racing. Now, well, still runs with the Maranello overalls on, but running with Kilian Kraft and his team at Kraft Motorsport on the Tony karts. Final lap underway. Nikita Genza, 0.769 up the road from Bas Lammers as we go on to the 12th and final lap. Victor Frostbay has been closing in. He's currently running P3 ahead of Ville Villainen, Maxim Shurko, Yannick Nielsen, who is leading in DD2-Masters. And by the way things stand, I'm just wondering, it's going to be a bit tight. I think Yannick Nielsen might lose out that DD2-Masters victory in this race, but it just depends on how hard he can push and put some distance between himself and Luca Filipponi. Because between Maslakovic, yeah, it's going to be close, to be honest with you. But the final lap is about to come to a conclusion. And the winner for race 2, oh, Nicolas Guillaume is out. But Nikita Genza wins in DD2 by 6.5 tenths of a second ahead of Bas Lammers. Victor Frostbay rounds out the top 3 with Ville Villainen, Maxim Shurko, Yannick Nielsen, David Maslakovic, Florian Breitenbach, Luca Filipponi, Nikolai Christensen round out the top 10 overall. Ben Dorr in 11th, head of Leonard Schreiber. Christopher Zaxa, Thomas Birstins. Oh, it looks like there's been a couple of karts also possibly involved. I've seen that Nicolas Guillaume, Yuri Klebor and Jan Eckstein have all tumbled. And that was on the exit of turn 7. So Nicolas Guillaume walking away from the kart despondently. I'm not at all surprised. So they have dropped down all the way. Well, Yuri Klebor crosses the line in 23rd. I think Jan Eckstein will be might not have made it to the checkered. Yep, has taken the checkered. So Nicolas Guillaume finishes a lap, well, on lap 11. His race comes to a premature end. But Nikita Genza wins, Provisionally in DD2 at the moment. I'm looking to see if there is going to be any change. So Yannick Nielsen, 1.8 seconds ahead of Maslakovic. Oh, it's close. It's very, very close. It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be Luca Filipponi that's going to take the win in DD2. About 4.8 seconds. And Elliot, very much impressed by Baz's performance in that heat. But there are your results. That is the penultimate heat for DD2 and Masters. They will close out the show at 6:05 this evening. But that is it for DD2 and DD2 Masters Race 2, Heat A and C. So taking a look back at that DD2 race, which had plenty of overtaking, plenty of drama as well. Baz Lammer is making some early moves, but Nikita Genza trying to stride away into the distance, and he definitely accomplished that, even though the gap was being truncated over the course of the racing distance. There was Lammers' move over David Maslakovic going through the final corner, and Maslakovic gave chase. Victor Frostbay also tried to get through on the Polish driver in the 4:55 and managed to make it through at turn 7. Also, Vili Viliainen decided to throw his 2 cents into the ring. A little bit of a sidewall clash between him and the 4:55, which then gave the opportunity and the impetus for Maxim Shirko to get through. And hello to the drone can. Yes, there you go. That was unexpected. Thanks, Dave, for pointing that out to me. I completely forgot we had a drone on site. And a big thank you to Noreen for doing some great shots at the moment here at the Home of Champions. But Nikita Genza winning in DD2. I think Luca Filipponi has ended up. Yep, Luca Filipponi taking the win in DD2 Masters by just under 0.2 of a second after the 5-second time penalty for the Dane. There's the move up the inside that he did on David Maslakovic. But when it was all said and done, Luca Filipponi wins the DD2 Masters, and in DD2, Nikita Genza.